Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now that summer is over halfway through and we're thinking more about heading back to school, the thought was on my mind about a lot of people going back to college or starting college for the first time. And as many of you know, the reality is that college is a time where many people lose their faith. They get off track, they go astray. It happens to so many people. Many adults that I know, that is part of their faith story and their faith journey, is that they ventured off in college and went down the wrong path and then came back later in life. The good news is that if your child has been given a solid foundation, they most likely will return to the faith at some point. But that is also not the ideal path. I don't think that we should settle for this mentality that, yeah, we go to college, do whatever we want, and then when we grow up and get a little bit more mature, we can get back into that church thing. That's just a ridiculous mentality to have. And so I just hope that this video, if you use some of these tips, that they can spare you from a lot of pain, heartache, and disarray during your college years. So here are some tips that I have as somebody who maintained my faith and even grew in my faith through college. My first tip would be developing and growing in your faith before you go off to college. So speaking now to people who are going off to college, in these weeks leading up to going, make sure that you are really focused on your spiritual life, growing in faith, knowledge of scripture. When you're laying out at the beach, bring a good book with you, bring the Bible with you, read those types of things, and pray. Pray for your future roommate. Pray for your professors. Pray that you can grow closer to God through the experience that is going off to college, and just continually be in this state of awareness of what you are about to get yourself into. Because the reality is that you are going to be off on your own. And that puts a lot of extra responsibility on yourself that you didn't have before. And one of those responsibilities is Sunday morning, after a night hanging out with friends, the person who needs to get everybody up and going to church is you. You don't have mom and dad and sister and brother all getting ready together. Now, all of that onus is on you. And it's a lot harder when you look around and your roommate is sleeping in. Or you walk down the hallway, everybody's asleep, or maybe they're going out to a breakfast brunch together and you want to go to Mass. It can be really hard and isolating, but you have to persevere. You have to just, going to Mass on Sundays at a minimum during the college years will be so fruitful for you. I know that. Make an effort. Plan out your Sunday. Plan out the Mass times ahead of time. Don't let your social life come ahead of your spiritual life. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do. But what I've found really helps is planning ahead and prioritizing. Number 2, find a good community. You need to find a great community, even multiple communities that have to do with your faith. For example, you want to find a group of people your age who are people wanting to grow deeper in their faith and knowledge of the faith. Typically, this would probably be some sort of Catholic group on your campus. If you go to a Catholic school, that is probably very accessible. If not, it may be a little bit harder to find. I know you can look them up. They're called Newman Centers, and then also Focus. I think they're called Focus groups or Focus missionaries who establish these groups on campus. Those can be great places to start in finding people who have values and morals on your college campus. But I would go deeper. I would try to reach out and look at how you can get involved, even in a very small way, at a local parish in that community. Because sometimes being tied to something other than your small campus world is really helpful in just kind of keeping you grounded and reminding you that the world is bigger than just you and just college and just getting that degree. It's just a really eye-opening thing. So maybe helping out with a youth group once a week, or even if there's a young adult group in the local parish. That way you can meet people in that area who share your same values, but maybe aren't necessarily right in your small circle at your college or university. But it's absolutely true that you become the people that you surround yourself with. So you really have to choose wisely in college. Sometimes there are people that we will end up being with in our lives that maybe aren't the best influences, especially in college, that you have to interact with. Maybe you are assigned a roommate or something like that, but try your best to observe the people around you and realize the more you hang out with those people, the more you're going to become like them. So choose very wisely. Next thing I need to touch on, kind of going along with the people you surround yourself with, is relationships. Many people, just the reality, and there's no need to be embarrassed of it, they go to college with this idea that, maybe I'll find somebody here. Maybe I'll meet a guy or a girl, find love, you know? And while I think that that is a fine thing to think, do not consume yourself with it and don't be set on it. Because, first of all, it may not happen. I really wanted to find my spouse in college, and it just didn't happen. And that's okay, because a few years later, I met my husband and now we're happily married and everything is wonderful. But I just wish I wasn't so consumed with it in college. Now, of course, if you are feeling the call to the vocation of married life, of course you're going to be open and looking. But be very careful about who you enter into relationships with, who you are interested in. Really think, is this somebody I want to be married to? Is this somebody who's wholesome? Or is this somebody just trying to enjoy life in college? Because you will find a lot of people who are just looking to have fun, who are just looking for a quick fling. So you really have to guard your heart. Really guard your heart. This is such a time where you can easily be manipulated, lied to, and if you do find somebody that you really like and are attracted to and interested in, it can be so easy to just throw all of your morals and values out the window. But really, I just encourage you to guard your heart. So many people get broken hearts in college, broken relationships, and it's just so painful to watch. Just the drama of it as it's happening, and then the lasting effects afterwards. And I really want to spare you from that. Not to be annoying and plug my book, but I did write a book on the topic of marriage and relationships, and that may be a helpful thing to take a look at. But yeah, you know, it won't be the cool thing. You may have people laugh at you, make fun of you, whatever, for being a Christian, being a Catholic, for actually going to church, or, you know, whatever it is that you do. People may laugh at that. But a few minutes of laughter and maybe a condescending facial expression here and there is not worth losing your soul. Don't lose your soul. Know that I'm praying for you as you head off to college. If you have any questions or anything for me, feel free to leave a comment about it down below. 2 more things I just thought of, and I wanted to add them in really quickly. Also, you could have decorations in your dorm room. Make sure you're arming yourself with things that will help you be in a state of prayer and going to God for guidance if there are times of struggling during your college days. And so things like keeping a Bible on your bookshelf, keeping the catechism with you, keeping a rosary next to your bed, even having holy water in your room, all of those types of things can be very beneficial when you are going through moments of struggling, because they will happen, whether it be over a test or an assignment or a relationship or a friendship or whatever it may be that happens. You always want to make sure that you are focused and directed back to Christ. The next thing is, if you do not have a group on campus that is faith-based or that aligns with your values, start one. Start one. Colleges love it when you start stuff because it just makes them look like they're a lot bigger and they have everything and anything. So if there isn't something there, start it. Start it. Maybe you're being called to start that. Maybe you're being called to start a young adult, college age group at the parish in your local community there. Be aware of that. There are a few things that I wish that I would have started and participated in more. I didn't find a faith-based group until the very end of my college years, and it wasn't Catholic. Even though I went to a Catholic school, the group there was just a non-denominational Christian group, which was really awesome and helpful to me. However, I wish in hindsight that instead of just being sad there wasn't a Catholic group, I would have started one or figured out how to get one there. So be aware of that, think bigger, really, really, really make that effort to surround yourself with awesome people, because in just 4 years, all the partiers and the people you're looking up to and all the people there, they're going to be all over the country. They're not going to be there anymore. So really embrace these days. Don't get hung up in things that are pulling you away from Christ. Try everything you can to stay rooted in your faith. It's all about being aware that your faith will be attacked, and you need to know how to stand up for yourself, your faith, your morals, your values, articulate your points in a way where people can understand them and you actually know what you're talking about instead of like, oh, my mom told me this. Continue learning and educating yourself on why we believe what we believe. And I know you're going to be tired of studying because of all the classes and courses that you're in, but it only takes a few minutes to research a simple question on a topic. There's so much information online. Use that to your best advantage. Thank you again for watching, and God bless you all. Bye.